You're watching CHCO-TV's gavel-to-gavel coverage of the June 2025 regular council meeting for the Municipality of Eastern Charlotte. I'm Florence Mitchell. Today's meeting begins with a presentation of the municipality's financial audit report for 2024 by Teed, Saunders & Doyle. Under Old Business, Bylaw Z.2.6, an amendment to the rural plan for the Village of Blacks Harbor, will be given its third and final reading by title. Under New Business, Council will move to give its assent to the streets and land for public purposes named Hillside Estates Subdivision. Council will also move to give proposed Bylaw 22-FNB-056-01, an amendment to the rural plan for the Fundy Bay planning area, its first and second readings, to request the views of the Planning Review and Adjustment Committee, and to schedule a date for a public hearing of objections. Finally, Council will review correspondence from the St. George Animal Shelter. Now let's join Council at Macadavic Place in St. George.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the June monthly meeting for the Municipality of Eastern Charlotte. Mayor sends along his regrets. He's speaking at another engagement tonight, so he's otherwise occupied. I need a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Mike? Oops, sorry. And Councillor McKay. At this time, councillors may declare any conflict of interest. Seeing none? Oh, vote on the agenda? Sorry. I guess we need to vote on the agenda.
Councillor Thompson, Councillor McKay.
Yeah.
I got a question or comment on it.
Oh,
Just wondering.
Councillor Hatt.
Just wondering if we were going to add on to that about delaying or a motion around that going to a town thing for more information for more time. Just wondering if that's what add it to the agenda.
Is there new business under C?
Councillor Hatt. Motion to amend.
Yeah, Councillor Hatt motion. So Councillor Hatt has made a motion to amend the agenda. We need a seconder.
I'll second it.
Alexa. Whoop. Councillor Dadarakis, sorry. Any questions on the agenda and the amendments? All those in favor? Aye. Right. Carried.
So that's the amendment. Just want to get a vote on the agenda as it stands.
So now we need a vote on the agenda as it stands with the amendment. So Councillor Thompson, seconder. Councillor McKay, any questions? All those in favor? Aye. It's carried. And now we move on to number 3, conflict of interest. And they say seeing none. Adoption of the minutes of previous council meetings. We'll start with the May 21st regular meeting. Motion to approve the minutes of the May 21st meeting. Councillor Dadarakis, seconded by Councillor Thompson. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. I guess the second one is the June 3rd meeting, which was a special meeting of council. So, motion to approve those minutes. Councillor Thompson, seconder. Councillor McKay. All those in favor? Next one was the June 10th Committee of the Whole, so motion to approve those meeting minutes. Councillor Dadarakis.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of June 10th, 2025, Committee of the Whole with the following corrections/amendments. Under section G, just a minor error. It's we wrote down the wrong representative that made the first motion.
Okay. So we have a motion to accept the minutes as corrected? Seconder? That's Counselor Hatt. All those in favor? Next one, public hearing, dated June 11th. So I'll get a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Counselor Hatt, seconder. Counselor Tidd, all those in favor? Okay. Business arriving from the minutes. Is there any, Mr. Cadet? Seeing none, we'll move on to delegations. At this time, we have the presentation of our financial audit for 2024 with representatives from Teed, Saunders, and Dole here. So you guys, at your leisure.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back. In fact, I think we were here just 6 months ago, right around this exact time, to do 2023, so we're gaining ground, and that's good. My name's Andrew Logan. I'm a partner at Teed, Saunders, Doyle. Megan Porter with me tonight. She's the manager in charge of the file. We have completed the audit for 2024, and so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about that and touch a little bit on the financial highlights for last year as well. We'll try to keep it short and sweet. The financial statements are really long, 36 pages. I intend to talk only about 2 of them. First of all, just in terms of the audit report, the good news is there is a clean audit opinion expressed once again this year. And I've probably said this before, but essentially the responsibilities of council is to ensure the financial governance of the municipality. And they do that by delegating the accounting function to staff and to others within the organization. And then they also hire auditors to come in at the end of the year to check the financial records, to check the financial statements, with 2 main goals in mind. And that's our job, is to make sure these financial statements are prepared in accordance with proper accounting standards that's published across the country. And our second job is to make sure there's no material errors in the financial statements. And those errors could be caused by, on purpose, through fraud or theft or some of those bad things, or unintentional. But that's our job, to make sure they are true and correct. And so if we could just scroll to the top of this page for just a second. There's an opinion paragraph there. The second paragraph, it says, in our opinion, the financial statements have been basically found to be free of material error and have been prepared in accordance with the proper accounting standards, which we know are called public sector accounting standards. So that's what you want to see from us. That's what you want to hear from us. And so that's good. The other thing I'll mention, and I may have said this when I was here in December, but I'll say it again, the accounting systems and processes for the municipality are very strong. We sort of look at the systems as we go through our audit. We look at the processes, we look at the internal controls. And in most audits, we find or sometimes stumble across an unintentional error or mistake within the records. And so we propose an adjusting entry to fix them, to correct the problem. There were no corrections required for the 2024 audit. And in fact, we found no evidence of even minor mistakes within the accounting records. So that's good news. Again, that means the folks that are in charge of that process are doing a good job, that the internal control systems are working, and that the financial information that you guys are looking at every month to make your decisions is true and accurate. And that's what you want. You want to make sure that's the case. I'll talk a little bit about the financial results for last year. If we could scroll to a couple of pages ahead. Right here, we'll stop here. So this is the, we call it income statement, or the statement of operations for the year. Both revenue and expenses were up in 2024. This is the revenue section. Significant amount over budget for revenue. That's a bit of a misnomer, because the conditional transfer line, which you can see there for 1.5 million, is generally not budgeted, because at the time the budgets are prepared, the transfers that come from the province or the federal government is not known. So that money may or may not materialize in a particular year, and when it does, it's generally spent right away. For example, if DTI puts out a bunch of work to be done on the designated highways, the funding will come in and then it will get spent. So it's sort of an in and out, but it does create some fluctuations within the revenue line. If we could scroll down to expenses. As I mentioned I just used the DTI example, and you can see under transportation services, the third line down, how we are significantly over budget on the expense side. That corresponds to the revenue that came in. So it's sort of an in and an out, really has no major impact on the operations of the town. There was a surplus last year. You can see that there, $585,000. It's a function of some revenues coming in that exceeded budget, around some things around interest income, and there were some contributions and donations to the municipality last year that were not budgeted. The bigger part, most expense categories are below budget last year for various reasons. But we see that the expenses on almost all lines, with the exception of transportation I mentioned, are down. So we did end up the year with a surplus of 585. From the budget perspective, as we know, the province funds us under sort of a different model than these financial statements. There were operating surpluses in both the general fund and utility fund last year, and they totaled about $430,000. Those surpluses will be carried forward for a couple of years and then brought back into the budget in 2026. If we could scroll to the next page. This is the public sector accounting standard equivalent of a balance sheet. So it sort of shows you a snapshot of your assets and liabilities for the year. Our comments are, again, I said this in December, but it's a healthy balance sheet, a healthy situation. Our financial assets and our financial liabilities are listed here. If you could just scroll up one line. We have a number there called a net asset position. Most municipalities have what we call a net debt position, meaning they owe more than they have in terms of assets. You folks are in the reverse, so that's a positive thing, meaning you have more financial assets and liabilities. And that's, most of you have managed very well in keeping your long-term debt numbers in a manageable and reasonable level. So we have $573,000 in net assets. If we scroll down a little bit further, this is the section that sort of measures our investment in infrastructure, roads, streets, buildings, equipment. We've $43.7 million. That's up over the prior year. There was about almost $2 million invested in assets and infrastructure. Roads, I think there was a new fire truck purchase last year, if I remember correctly, some equipment, some work done on some municipal buildings and some other things like that, and a little bit into the utility system as well. Most of that was financed through some debentures that will be forthcoming or some other debt. There was some money spent out of operations and in fact, a bit out of the reserves as well. The reserves grew last year. The town has approximately, numbers off the top of my head, I can't recall. $2.5 million in reserves. And that grew by about $450,000 last year. You probably recall making the transfer near the end of last year. Again, a very healthy reserve situation. Most of that sitting in cash with about 1.5 in cash and about $1 million in GICs. The only other comment I'll make about the balance sheet, and I mentioned this a second ago, was on the debt. There was some new debt acquired last year, a debenture of $337,000. There was about $202,000 paid down on debt. And so our net debt position did increase by a little bit to $1.85 million. I think the takeaway from the financial results for last year are a healthy surplus, good expenditure control, and the statement of financial position continues to be strong and in good shape for the municipality. That's all I have for my notes. Be happy to answer any questions or.
So if any councilors have questions, just take your turn, I guess. So we need a motion to accept the report as presented. Councilor Lee. Seconder. Councilor Tidd. Any questions?
So in conclusion, you would say that we're in good financial standing?
Yes, I would say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's good. Now we'll go to the vote, please. All those in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. Thanks, guys. So now we'll move along to the general governance report presented by our CAO, Jason Gadet.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So this is general government report for the month of May. Housing and Development, Hillside Subdivision has been held up with the provincial for wetland delineation report, waiting response, and we've got some good movement with that tonight on new business agenda. Project Village housing project in Black Harbor is progressing, albeit slowly. We are reaching out to Project Village almost every other week just to sort of get an update on them. They are expecting to pull a permit for the Lewis Connors Road development within the next 30 days. The old hospital building in Black Harbor has been sold to a new owner, and I did talk with the new owner actually today, and certainly let them know the municipality would be interested to sit down and see how we can assist with that, or I guess refurbishment of a multi-unit in Black Harbor. The agreement has been reached with the St. George Cemetery on the future extension of Carlton Street, and we're just finalizing some of the legal documents for that. Several single-family home lots in Black Harbor are expected to go up for proposals before the end of summer. Staffing, limited candidates being received with the post for the Economic Development Project Manager. We are expanding that ad reach to a few other different job posting. Not to say we're not getting any, but we do have a couple of possible candidates that we'll be interviewing this month. External posting will be out for Parks and Recreation labor operator as well. The Public Works first round of road patching was completed in St. George. Repaving of Main Street in St. George is underway now. Possible Street in Black Harbor has been completed, and we'll be moving to paving the Granite Street in St. George, as well as the southern portion of Campbell Hill and a portion of Brunswick Street in front of the mall. Renovations at the municipal office, the new administrative office, and the old former library office is pretty much complete. For childcare, Murdoch and Boyd firm will be on site here in St. George for site review, which they did in early June. We're getting preliminary estimates from a local construction company to get a base costing for that project. Water and wastewater on Globe Engineering, continuing work on the IBA project for water source of Black Harbor. We'll be meeting with council and providing public info sessions. Also, the option of a steering committee on the project has been proposed by the engineers. CBCL for the IBA projects with St. George are ongoing. We'll be reissuing the dredging project for the dredging of the Black Harbor sewage lagoons, as the previous tender did not proceed or was accepted. Finalizing the schedule for the water towers cleaning in St. George and Black Harbor for the end of June. There will be a prelude actually this weekend of flushing in Black Harbor, and we'll be putting more post out. We've done some posting, but we'll be putting more post out as well. Parks and Recreation fencing was complete, has been installed the basketball court here in St. George, and new asphalt for the courts in Black Harbor has been completed. Work finishing on the baseball field here in St. George, and certainly for some of the users, we know we've had some delays, and we certainly apologize for some of the delays. Some of this has been both with contractor and weather, but those fields are starting to look better. Over the next couple of weeks, attention will be made on the walking trails with adjustments of signage, vegetation control, and just a reminder for residents that ATVs are not permitted on the walking trails. We'll be doing a few different things to mitigate any of the ATVs on the walking trails as well. Canal Beach has reopened, though some additional work for the swim buoys, as well as some rock cleanup and gravel cleanup on the beach will be completed. Users are reminded to keep dogs on a leash, and please clean up after your pets. There's lots of pets going to Canal Beach, but just make sure that they're on leash and that you clean up after your pet. And also the beach at the gate at the beach does close at dusk. If it does close, if your car is there, it will close. It will leave your car in. You have to pick it up the next morning. So just be reminded of that. Work has started on the outdoor market picnic shelter at the Riverside Park, and anyone that is interested in using the large market shelter for booking the updated bandstand, please call the municipal office. We can look at different things for open concerts, or if there's going to be anyone looking at hosting a market, but we'll be looking as well to schedule our own St. George market at the Riverside Park. Fire, the tender is being finalized for the new fire truck to get that out and see what kind of costing we can get for a new fire truck pumper and the support vehicle with the retirement of the Blacks Harbor Unit 650. Dangerous unsightly properties, there are 2 properties that actually went out today for demolition, and one is on Bonnie River and one is in Utopia. There are 2 other properties on extended orders to comply. And that is the general government report.
Thank you, Mr. Gadet. Any questions? Alexa?
Councillor Diderakis, yes. No, just joking. I have a question for our CAO. So in regards to the economic development project manager, where is the municipality advertising?
We are doing Indeed, and there's a few
Indeed,
other HR ones that their HR has been using. I believe she's going to be posted on LinkedIn is
Yeah.
the next one. It is
cool.
posted on our website as well. So, so it's just we're getting a variety of different candidates, but trying to find someone that kind of fills both of those
Yeah.
positions has been a bit of a challenge.
Have we thought about maybe reaching out to Charlene Hatt of the Service New Brunswick?
Yes, that
to
we have
see-
as well.
Yeah.
And really through our HR, they've used some of their own networks to sort of let people know. We haven't engaged in a headhunter, but there are some people that are getting the word out for us as well.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Mr. or Councillor Tidd?
Just had one question in regards to Canal. Do we have any hours set for the canteen, or has the operator? Just wondering about that, because I've been asked by a few people. I know we just opened, so I
Yeah,
get
we
that.
can certainly check to see if there's something that's more structured with their hours. They tend to vary, especially with the weather, but we can certainly ask that and see.
No other questions? Our next report will be Alex Henderson with the Southwest Service Commission.
Thank you, Council. So in your package tonight, there's a couple reports, planning reports. One's dealing with a proposed unserviced 5-lot commercial business park type development. This is off Poor Hill House Road, and it's in the Fundy Bay Planning Area Rural Plan Regulation. So that rezoning request to rezone that property from agriculture and forestry to mixed-use development would require that rezoning bylaw. And I'll be here later tonight if you want to ask questions specifically on that, or if you want to ask them now, it's fine. But council can do 3 things. It can give first reading, it can request the views of the PRAC, and then set a date for a public hearing of objections. So that's going to essentially launch the process for that rezoning. There's also in your package tonight a plan report for the Ascent to the land for public purposes and the public street for the Hillside Estates subdivision. In terms of development, you've had 32 building or development permits approved year to date and 14 in the last month. You're just over 2.4 million in new construction value. You've had 8 subdivisions approved with 3 new lots added in the last month. Several zoning confirmation letters been issued, and 21 net new homes or apartment units have been permitted in Eastern Charlotte year to date, and that's 3 new homes in the last month. We met with council to help inform some decisions around enforcement and actions against several non-compliant properties, which the CEO mentioned. And there's been 1 new enforcement file open last month, and you've had 18 year to date. And those were Community Planning Act, Building Code Administration Act, or Dangerous and Unsightly Bylaw type enforcement files. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Councillor Lee?
Just one, Alex, on the Hillside subdivision.
Yep.
If we pass this tonight and the province gives their blessing tomorrow or the next day, whatever, as soon as we can, how long is it before you can generate a permit for that?
So yeah, my understanding the province is actually good to go now, so that information would have been new. But basically, council sense, basically that gives leave to the clerk to sign that the plan of subdivision. But we also want to make sure that that subdivision agreement with the developer is finalized, because that's dealing with who's doing what with the infrastructure. I think a lot of it's complete, so there just may be some of those issues around the completion of different aspects. So that should be signed before the final plan of subdivision is done. But when that final plan of subdivision is signed by both the development officer and the clerk, those lots can get registered and then sold. So we're at the end right here.
Few days? Like,
Well, the registration actually itself can take, that's the province there. And they were running at like 20 days to get a lot registered. So if that's what you're, if you're, and that might be last year's. I don't know what they are right now. It used to be around like 10 days to get a property registered, create a PID and all that. So,
wow.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Councilor McKay?
Alex, just for the first one, on the rezoning, what is that land zoned at now?
So the frontage where the Rock Pit Church is, or
Yeah.
the Generations Church is, that it
Yeah.
would be mixed use. But the portion which is in behind,
Yeah,
the part that they're looking to rezone, that's currently used as a pit, so
right.
resource extraction. So it's
Okay.
zoned for resource development, agriculture, forestry, which permits resource development,
Okay.
and pits and quarries and stuff like that.
And it wants to be rezoned as commercial?
Yes. yeah.
Okay, so then, or mixed use? Okay, so then my next question would be, access to that property, would that be going through 89 Mount Pleasant, or would there be a new road put in?
It would be
From-
a private access that they already have, so there's already a private access over the church property.
Right,
So they would just be developing that private access.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? No? Thank you, Alex. Councilor Thompson?
With the property for Hillside being delineated, and we're just waiting for the permits from the RSC and the province to come through. Now, if they're in agreement, they can't start work up there at all until they have paper in hand?
So you're talking about building permits for houses?
Yes.
So what we're right now dealing with is the actual creation of the public road and the public park, the land for public purposes.
Right.
So that has been one of these things that's been held up by the delineation requirement that the province has for these things. So that delineation is around like, where are these wetlands? Because the province raised a concern about that. But it came back with actually a clean report.
Right.
So you're good to go on creating the roads and that park, which needs to happen in order for the subdivision plan to be approved. Because we can't actually create those lots until council agrees that that road is going to be a public road. And so that's what you got to deal with tonight. The building permit will happen once you get those lots registered.
Okay.
So that has to happen in the step.
So we're still 20 days.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Thank you.
This is no one else. Well, thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
Our next report will be fire services. Councilor Thompson.
The fire report for May 2025, Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue had 10 fire calls, 27 medical calls, 5 false alarms, 29 calls for training, meeting, maintenance, and on-call, for a total of 73. This compares to 36 for the month of May 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Thompson. Any questions? Seeing none, our next report will be Public Works. Councilor McCrory.
For Blacks Harbor, they're working on some equipment that needs repairs. They've got some up and moving. They're doing their lawn cutting and that. They're working on the ballparks. They're trying to anyways. Weather ain't helping them much. They're doing their water tests weekly, and they're doing the tower sometime this month, and they're doing flushing the lines this weekend, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, he didn't put that in there when he was doing it. He just said they were doing them sometime. And St. George is pretty much the same. They're doing the lawn mowing, they planted their flowers, and mower's been fixed. Bleachers have arrived for the basketball court in Mac and David Center, and we're put together. Flags are on Main Street. The new full-time employee started this month, and they've been doing their water samples every week, and that's pretty much it.
Any questions on the Public Works report? Councilor Dederakis first, and then.
I have a question for our CAO. Last month, we talked about well 4. There was concerns about the water levels. Is that still an ongoing concern, or we've resolved it?
It is, and we've started conversations with CBCL on trying to look at alternatives. So we've already done a groundwater study on that, so we'll be utilizing that study to help us sort of understand what are some of the impacts of that marsh. So yeah, it's still an ongoing issue. If you look back at just the history of that marsh, it's continually losing water. There's a sandbar there that probably needs to be opened up to allow water to come in from Lake Ethiopia. So yeah, we're still having issues with well 4. Yeah.
And Councilor Hart?
Yeah, if you don't mind, just a question for our CAO. I was wondering if it's possible that the water sample results could be posted in next month's public report for Blacks Harbor. You don't see any of the reports ever on ours say about well testing and all that in there, and also with the lagoon, if we could try to mimic the pair of them to match, that would be great.
Yeah, we'll do.
Any other questions? Our next report, Parks and Recreation, Councilor Hatt.
There's no report for this month in the binder that I have, unless there's one that's been prepared after the package went out.
Okay. Other committee reports? Okay.
This is a report for the Age-Friendly Committee. So this is just a summary. So at the May 5th meeting, several updates and actions and items were discussed. One member is working on a monthly community newsletter, both print and online, and another member is looking into suppliers for fridge magnets and info cards. Two of those same members gave a presentation to the Penfield Anglican Social Group, where many attendees were unaware of the age-friendly initiatives. As council knows, a while ago, a grant was applied, but unfortunately were not successful. The committee sent a letter to council regarding a better access to a library, and it's received a positive response. And a Facebook group has been set up and currently has 47 members, and they're encouraging everyone to join. This was prepared by Sharon Travis, by the way.
Thank you, Councilor Dederakis. Any other committee reports? Okay, moving right along. Financial statement, back to our CAO.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This I'm looking for a motion to accept the financial reports for the month of May 2025.
We need a motion to accept the financial statement as presented in your package. Councilor Lee, seconder. Councilor McKay. All in favor? Oh, questions, excuse me. Councilor.
I have a question for our CAO. So in the budget, in our breakdown, it says that we have budgeted $40,000 for regional tourism for the Regional Service Commission. What does that look like this year for 2025?
It's a good question. So we do, that's a budgeted item that is.
We are mandated to pay, I understand.
Right, yeah. We can certainly ask for an update on that, and we can have that for next council for sure.
Awesome, thank you so much, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. Motion to accept the financial statement as presented. Councilor Hatt and Councilor Lee, I think I heard. All in favor? business, land for public use, hillside subdivision. Old business? Okay, scratch. Good. We'll go to our CAO.
So this old business would be in regards to the amendment of bylaw Z.2, be in the rural plan for the Village of Blacks Harbor. It's an amendment to Z.2.6. So this would be a subdivision of lands up on Hillcrest Drive in Blacks Harbor. There was a public meeting that was held on, a special meeting of council held on June the 3rd. So this would be for a third and final reading of the amended bylaw.
So we have need a motion, I guess, for the third and final reading. Councillor McKay, seconder. Councillor Dederakis, any questions? So all those in favor? Aye. So carried. Now we'll move along to new business. So it's land for public purposes, hillside subdivision, Blacks Harbor. I'll go to our CAO for an explanation.
So this would be for lands for public use, and this would be assenting to the road for public use as well for the Hillside Estates subdivision. It's council package on here. This is a large single-family, single-dwelling subdivision that's been in the works for a number of years, and get it to this point, certainly nice to see. I'm sure Alex can add anything to this if you'd like.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, as the CEO said, this subdivision's been in the works for some time, and it's good to see it come to the concluding decision at council. And again, the decision before you tonight is around the creation of the assent to the public road and the land for public purposes on that plan of subdivision, which then enables the registration of lots and the signing of the subdivision agreement.
I guess just one clerical motion, or clerical point. Just with this 9A, it is highlighted as Hillside subdivision for Blacks Harbor. Would be for Hillside subdivision for St. George. So we would be looking for a motion from council to assent to the streets of Hillside subdivision and the lands for public use as marked in the subdivision plan that council would have.
Anybody wish? Mr. Councillor Lee, seconder.
Be it resolved that the Council of Eastern Charlotte gives its assent to the streets and the land for public purposes as marked on the subdivision plan named Hillside Estates Subdivision as presented to council, and that council gives leave to the clerk to apply the corporate seal of Eastern Charlotte and sign the face of this subdivision plan on behalf of council.
And a seconder, Councillor McKay. Questions?
I guess I'll just make a comment. This has been in the works for many, many years. So I'm happy that I'm seeing it move forward, and I know that this will make a big difference in our community.
So we'll go to the vote. All those in favor? It's unanimous. So 10B is proposed bylaw 22 FNB 05601. Mr. Crowe.
So this would be a proposed bylaw. It's amendment to the rural plan that was previously a Funday Bay rural plan. So that's bylaw number 22-FNB-056-00, and this would be an amendment to that plan. What this would be, as spoken about earlier, is a rezoning for these lands from agriculture and forestry to a mixed-use zone. So we'd be looking for a council motion to take this to a first reading.
So we need a motion to go to first reading. Councillor Lee.
Be it resolved that council accept the first reading by title only of bylaw 22 FMB-056-01, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 22 FMB-056-00, being the rural plan for the Fundy Bay planning area.
And we need a seconder. Councillor Thompson. Questions or comments? Councillor Delarakis.
I have some questions for you, Alex. So with this, can the land be subdivided without changing the zoning designation?
No, so the land right now is in a resource type zone. So what they want to do is they want to do some smaller lots that would be appropriate for commercial developments. And so we had to look at this from a point of view of the rural plan policies and the point of view of the provincial statements of public interest regulation. So when we're doing that analysis to say, you know, is this the type of development subdivision that would work within the rural plan's overall objectives? And that's what we conclude that, yeah, it would work, especially given that it's commercial development. The main concern would be that if it was impacting agricultural viability of adjacent farm, or it was going to be a type of development that would have issue with there being a continuation of a rock pit south of the location, then this would be potentially a problematic subdivision / rezoning. But where they're looking to do some commercial type uses, and some of their focuses would be things like contractor yards, service stations for automobiles, things which would be excellent for that kind of location where, you know, it's cleared, it's not going to be able to be used for agriculture given it's already been, the resources, the topsoil has been stripped. That this would be an excellent location with some buffering between the church and this sort of business park, and a buffer between this location and the adjacent farm / residential property. So yeah, no, it would work. It just requires council to weigh in and make a decision on rezoning.
Perfect. Another question. So I understand this is for 5 lots, correct? So what would be the problem for council to approve specific use for each of the specific lots? I understand this is like it's one shot, right? One shot for 5. What's the difference between doing that versus going individually?
Yeah, then I guess it's 5 rezonings, if that's what you're looking at. But one thing you could do, and you can see we recommended in the terms and conditions in the report, is to limit use for residential purposes. Because, like I said, there could be, look, if one of those lots, say the one in the middle, somebody put up a house and they didn't want any noises around them, they didn't want animals behind them, and they didn't want to have, you know, quarrying or resource extraction down the road, that would be problematic. So we're recommending that you just put a limitation on no residential uses in that development. So if there are uses in there that you would see that are in the mixed use zone that wouldn't be appropriate there, council would fully within its prerogative to limit future land uses to certain uses. But I think the point what the developer is looking to do is they want to be able to have a bit of flexibility within the mixed use zone as to what they can develop it for. Again, they're not looking to do residential because of the issues that could arise with that. But anything that they could do in the mixed use, they kind of want a little bit of leeway on that. So if there was go ahead.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, Alex, but could you explain what is mixed use though?
So mixed use is it's a sort of a mixture between, you could do residential, you can do commercial.
I see.
There is even some light industrial categories which they're not looking to use. But mixed use has probably the widest variety of potential development opportunities.
So there's flexibility.
There's flexibility for sure.
But the applicant wants to go more in a commercial direction.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And should we, I don't know if this is an appropriate question for council to ask, but I guess like because we ultimately make the decision, so I want to know what I'm making a decision on. Is there any indication of what the development is about?
Yeah, and basically what was indicated.
Like is it heavy would it be heavy? Okay.
No, so they wouldn't be allowed to do heavy industrial because of the
zoning.
There's a zone for that type of use in the Fundy Bay Rural Plan, and it's not in this location, and it's not in the mixed use zone.
Yep.
So they wouldn't be going to a heavy industrial type use. Yeah, their focus was going to be some of these commercial uses that are things that, let's say folks are doing a contractor yard out of their home and they need more space to expand. Well, there's few opportunities in the area that people can set up these types of, I guess you call like medium impact commercial use.
Yep, I
So it's a
understand.
little bit, like with this location, it's a bit set back from the adjoining properties with those buffers. It's also set back from the public road quite a bit.
Yep.
So it's an excellent location for this type of development.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion on the floor, so we need to go to the vote. All those in favor? That's unanimous. So now we move on to second reading.
So this would be a second reading in its entirety of bylaw 22-FNB-05601, bylaw to amend the rural plan for Funday Bay. So with this second reading in its entirety, bylaw will be made available on the website and at the municipal hall for anyone looking for copies. So we looked for a motion to have this a second reading of this amended bylaw.
So we're asking for a motion for the second reading. Councilor Delarakis.
Sure. Be it resolved that council accept the second reading in its entirety of bylaw 22-FNB-056-01, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 22-FNB-56-00, being the rural plan for the Fundy Bay planning area.
And we need a seconder. Councilor Tidd. Questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor? And that's unanimous. So we'll go with 10B3. Mr. Cadet.
So this would be request the view of this amended bylaw from the PRAC. So we'd request a review of this amended bylaw from the PRAC. Just need a motion to send this to PRAC.
So you heard Mr. Cadet, we need a motion to send this this bylaw to PRAC.
Be it resolved that council requests written reviews of PRAC regarding proposed bylaw 22 FNB 056-01, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 22 FNB 05600, being the rural plan for the Fundy Bay planning area.
And we need a seconder. Councilor McCrory. Questions or comments? See. Councilor Hatt.
I guess maybe more for clarification, even though it says Fundy Bay planning area, that's just right behind the church in St. George here. And
Yeah.
so I know when I read this originally before I went to the PID and looked online, it looked like it read like it was in Back Bay area, but it's now, it's literally right here, so, okay.
Yeah, it would be in the area of Upper Latang.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that for people in case they.
Okay, so we have a motion and a seconder. We'll go to the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Carried. And 10B4, schedule a public hearing. Mr. Cadet.
So this would be a scheduling of a public hearing. We do have to have a minimum of 21 days notice of the public hearing, so we'd be looking at no earlier than July the 10th. So this would be a public hearing on the bylaw 22-FNB-056-01, the amendment. And we could schedule that to be held here at the Macadavic Place. So 21 days from now, no earlier than July the 10th.
So we need a motion on the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Councilor Hatt.
Be resolved that council schedule a public hearing of objections bylaw 22-FNB 056-01, bylaw to amend the bylaw number 22-FNB-056-00, being the rural plan for the Fundy Bay planning area. And I ask that we be able to schedule a meeting on July 10th at 6 p.m. at this building.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a seconder? Councilor Tidd.
No? Oh, yes, the building is being occupied here. We could use the small room.
Sure.
Use the small room. Yep. Okay. Yep. The tent? It is occupied. Could use the basement?
No.
No, okay. So we'll be looking at the,
Why don't we see if one of the buildings here in St. George area is available for rental, and we'll rent it.
or we could do this in Penfield as well. We do have the Penfield Community Hall, or?
Wherever, yeah.
Okay, yep. So we have the community room, would be changed to the community room at Penfield, at the Penfield Fire Hall.
Yeah, I'm fine with that amendment in my motion.
And seconder, you're good with the amendment? Okay. So, we did the questions? No? Okay, questions? Comments?
any questions.
No, okay, I thought you meant, yeah, okay. All in favor? Aye, aye. Carried. Moving right along. The next one we have is correspondence. No? Oh, classification, I didn't write down that paper, sorry, Ed. Counselor Hatt.
I would ask that be able to make a motion to look at delaying the status of us moving to a town for at least 90 days for allowing us to get educated and the public to get up to speed.
And Counselor Hatt, do we have a seconder? Counselor McKay. Any questions or comments?
I mean, there's been a lot of questions about the designation. Many residents are asking, they're wondering what sort of change is going to have impact on them. And they also would like to know, what are the pros and cons of each classification for a rural community, village versus a town. And also to see what sort of impacts this will have on conditional grants long-term as well, so.
I just have one other question. In that regards, would it still not be feasible to have the department come down and explain those to the residents? Like, I know we had them formally to come down to explain when we had the motion on the floor, but I still think it would be pertinent for them to come down and give that overview.
I can amend my motion to add that if you want that added to it.
I think that would be a great idea.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just add that we sent a letter to the province for them to come down and word it how you want, educate us on it, and give to the public, to the goods and the bads, so.
And the seconder is good with that amendment? Okay, Lisa. Councilor McKay. So, I guess we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of the motion as amended? That's carried. The next one we have is correspondence. And we have a letter from the St. George Animal Hospital. Councillor Lee, do you want to present that? Or Animal Shelter? It's in our book. He said our CIO will do it if you want.
So, Your Worship, council members, we are a team of passionate volunteers who are temporarily housed within the St. George Veterinary Clinic. As you are aware, we serve the entire eastern Charlotte County region, St. George, St. Stephen, St. Andrews, Penfield, Deer Island, Grand Manan, Campobello Island. Since 2018, the St. George Animal Shelter has acted as a bridge between homeless and forever homes for over 2,000 animals that have come since inception. We provide food, shelter, medical care, and compassion for the animals in our care while we seek permanent replacement for them with loving adopters. Through the generosity of Dr. Melanie Egan, she has provided us with temporary space, but as her business has grown so much, she needs to use full capacity of her space within the clinic. We need space, and Dr. Egan has generously donated 15 acres of land for a new building. Now it's up to us to move quickly and have a new 2,000 square foot home built in the fall. The animal shelter is actively raising now for money for the building fund, and we are asking for the town's help in waiving a building permit fee of $1,275. On behalf of the animals we serve for believing in second chances, we couldn't do this without you, with deep gratitude. Melody McElman, Donor Relations. So that is the letter.
Thank you, Councillor Lee. Mr. Gatt, do you have anything to add? No? Okay. So we need a motion on how council wishes to act on this.
So
Councilor Lee.
I move to council make a donation of $1,275 to the animal shelter to help with their building.
Do we have a seconder? Councilor McCrory. Questions or comments? Councilor Tidd.
Just to note, I don't have any problem with this at all, but the waiving of the building permit fee, we are not permitted to do that, correct?
Correct. So this would be a donation, not a waiver of fees. Right.
Councilor Hatt.
I see that there's an application to waive development charges along in this letter on our book. Is that correct?
Oh, there.
It says to Eastern Charlotte Mayor and Council.
Okay.
So I guess that we can't do that then, but donations are fine,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Donation.
Yeah. So we have a motion on the floor, first and seconder. All those in favor of the motion? Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you were questioning. Okay. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
That's carried. Okay, now we're moving on to public presentation and appearances. Under bylaw ECO 1, section 7.1, members of the public shall be entitled to address council for 5 minutes with no debate from council on matters of municipal jurisdiction. So the mic is yours if you so choose. Quietly. Aha. And we need your name and address, please.
Raymond Hall, 108 Mount Pleasant Road, St. George. Just wondering if there's going to be letters sent out to the residents for proposed bylaw amendment. Generally, they usually send them out within 100 meters. Alex would know. Just curious as to if that was going to be done. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else?
My name's Matthew Hall. I'm a resident of Penfield. I'm standing here tonight to bring up a few issues. Firstly, I want to say thanks to the municipality for making an awareness post about the walking trails in St. George. These trails are used by many people, a wide range of ages, and it's even accessible for those with mobility issues as a way to get outside, enjoy nature, and stay active. These trails are also a tourist attraction and brings in a surprising amount of people from outside Eastern Charlotte. You can find many birders on this trail looking for the elusive American bittern. If you're one of the lucky few who gets to see it, it's a treat. I'm happy to see there's going to be more work to help keep ATVs from damaging the special trail. I would like to see the damage caused be repaired in a more timely manner, as it's now been a month and the damage from these ATVs have yet to be repaired. My second issue has to do with the response I received about the potential Francophone school being built in southwest New Brunswick by the provincial government. The municipality needs to be doing everything possible to get this provincial project built in Eastern Charlotte. To say the first you heard about this was during the interview with CBC Radio 2 weeks ago is unacceptable. This project was announced in December by the provincial government, and CHCO-TV did an article about it a few days later. This was also a budget line item in the provincial budget. Our leaders should be reading the budget to see what priorities the province has set and how it can help the municipality. To not do this could be considered negligent. The project is funded by the provincial government and not a penny from the municipality. The tax revenue, the jobs, the professionals it would help attract to work there and to move here, and the opportunities this would open up to many of our children in the community makes it an easy thing we should be fighting harder to get built here. Lastly, there's an accessibility issue with holding the public hearing at the Penfield Fire Hall. The community room's upstairs, and it's not accessible for those who have issues with stairs. This may limit some participants from attending. I don't know what the attendance rate is usually like at these things. We need the municipality to start working with the provincial government to help improve the lives and opportunities for the people in Eastern Charlotte. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Yeah, going once, going twice, and councillor concerns. We're going to start tonight with Councillor McCory. Councillor Lee.
Just to respond to that last gentleman, I'm not sure where you got the idea that we just heard about Francophone School 2 weeks ago.
You got the email from Mayor Craig that I got, so it's in his email.
Said that we just found out about it 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
I missed that, sorry. Most of us knew about it last fall. So, anyway, just want to make sure you understand that.
Councillor Tidd.
I would just like to thank everyone for coming tonight.
Councillor McKay.
Thank you all for coming, and I'm all for a Francophone school coming to this area, so I'm on board with it.
Councillor Delarakis.
Sorry. Yeah, to your point, Matthew, I would love to have a French immersion school in Eastern Charlotte, and we need to, I believe the municipality was drafting a letter or has sent a letter. Have we sent it? Yeah, showing our support in having it built here. I know for me, I would love it for my son to go to a French immersion school, but so that's that. Matthew also reminded me I'm saying this to our CAO, on the trail there is a post from the coastal link that's laying down. If we could have Public Works erected, that would be great. And I guess for my closing statement, I guess it's just more so, a few weeks ago we had a presentation by the Service Commission with Raymond Funk about social development, I guess. I don't really understand, I don't know what his category of work is. I know he used to be a part of Vibrant Communities. And I guess with that and, knowing the other mandated services that we're mandated to pay for, it'd be great if we had an update on what's being done in certain areas. I know for last week when we had the meeting that was also hosted by the Service Commission and Minister Dorian, his name slips my mind, the Minister of Health, when he was here, I didn't even know that there was money there was money available from the Service Commission to access money for primary care. So I just think that council needs a refresher as to what's available out there.
Councillor Hatt. Councillor Thompson. Nothing. I have a brief one myself. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Congratulations to all the graduates in our community, and be safe out there, guys. ATVs through town. I saw one going through the other night. 2 guys, no seat belts, no helmets on. We've got rules, guys. Make sure you follow them. We don't want to lose what we've worked so hard for. And stay off the walking trails. As a heads up, it's been mentioned here tonight, I don't suggest you get under the way of the construction, but take a drive down and look at the new pavilion going up at Riverside Park. It's going to be something nice for everybody in the community to use. And like I said, be safe, graduates, and thank you. And date and location for our next meeting will be Wednesday, July 16th, 2025, 7 p.m. here at the Macadavic Community Center. And the motion to adjourn. So, Councillor Tidd, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.